more. This is a regime that has been actively propagating nuclear technology under the nose of the United States. And actually, the man who was responsible for this is sitting in his home, comfortably enjoying the millions.
So what should be? What's the solution that you offer? Because
I think U.S. policy in this part of the world needs to totally be transformed if it really wants to address fundamentalism. The way to address it is not through military means and through war, but promoting democratic processes, shared prosperity, which will isolate the extremists, will bring them, will make people will locally address these people, the more extreme elements in their society, as we do here in the West.
I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding of what democracy is. If you look around the world, there is no nation that's had a stable democracy that does not have a market economy. Unless you build up a market economy where there are independent centers of power, you really can't build a stable democracy. Pakistan isn't there yet. It's wishful thinking. There have been several corrupt, incredibly corrupt civilian regimes, democratically elected in Pakistan, that the Pakistani public was very happy to get rid of. Now, I personally don't know the solution, but this democracy thing is a false dichotomy. It's not the solution. It has failed.
I have to comment on this, and you quoted the Clash of Civilizations. Wherever you allow democracy in the Muslim world, the Islamists, the radicals, are gaining power. And I can't see where that's any solution whatsoever, because they're not motivated, as the left believes, with economic matters. They're motivated in the desire to observe their jihad and conquer the world. They have a religious...
That's an incredibly simplistic black and white perspective of the world.
But it's the truth.
No, it's not. It's a very narrow black and white view of the world. It's completely incorrect.
You look at Morocco, they're on the increase. Turkey, they're on the increase.
But actually what you're saying
democratically, you're going to have an Islamist government elected with a greater majority in Turkey, with a greater majority in Morocco, in the Palestinian territories. Everywhere you look, it's on the ascendancy.
I think your approach, with all due respect, is a little simplistic. There are Islamic organizations like Al-Qaeda who do believe in world domination. I don't actually think Hezbollah and Hamas, as much as I oppose them, believe in that. It's about internal dispute. Well, in Algeria, you had a fundamentalist government that was elected. There was a military coup and the West said nothing. Even there, I think it was about imposing Sharia law and a quite repugnant regime on Algeria, but it wasn't about expanding further. In fact, Al-Qaeda is one of the few fundamentalist groups that does want to take back Spain and Portugal and get to the gates of Vienna. So we have to analyze this properly.
Exactly, and I agree with you on this.
I don't support those regimes.
I can't let it go. It is an intrinsic part of Islam, inseparable from Islam, the notion of conquering the world.
That's racist. That's a completely
Well, I don't think it is racist, but I'm not sure it's completely accurate.
But I wouldn't come on the show and say here that there's something completely intrinsic about Judaism, about taking over the world, or about there's some kind of ulterior motive.
Islam.
I completely reject that.
Which do you say
notion.
Let me...
Who says that? Does the JDL say that?
I'm just saying that I would never suggest this about any other faith or
But there are Muslim leaders. I mean, look, I'm trying to be moderate here, but if there's a minority of Jewish leaders who say we want world domination, then we could talk about that. But there are some notable Islamic leaders who do talk about House of War.
Yes, we dismiss that and we criticize that, and we are completely opposed to that. But to suggest that this is completely intrinsic in all of Islam, that there is no, and I agree with the point.
I think it is a misreading.
Yes, and there is
not at all. That's political correctness run amok. It is very much a part.
First time ever, ding ding, I've ever been accused of that. I will criticize Islam and Muslims when I have to, but let's get it right here. Islam often wants to, in its own country, in its own dispute, impose a certain form of law. I think that's what Hamas are doing right now in Gaza. This law and order agenda is not always fun for people who don't agree, but I don't think they want to expand into the rest of the Middle East and certainly not into Europe.
By the way, my friend here and radical Islamists have a very similar point of view. They say, look, based in our religion, is this commandment to go and expand jihad, which has multiple interpretations? Now, I'm not sure that I agree with you, but Osama bin Laden would agree. Osama bin Laden would agree with your interpretation of Islam.
This argument
but it's a legitimate interpretation. Let me just say that.
It's an interpretation that many have, and there are universities in Cairo preaching this right now. But the idea that
in America,
the idea that within Islam is the necessity of converting the world to the religion, and it's simply untrue, and evidenced by so many Muslims who don't agree with that.
And actually, this
I can
argument
rebut
is a
that if you have
distraction.
the time,
This
but
argument
I'm right.
is a distraction from the bigger point that I think Ricardo
You know what, let's bring it back to that. Just in closing, you play into the hands of people who do believe that when you make such a statement.
Facts are
because
facts.
well, they're not, but you empower every militant and you make it much harder for every moderate Orthodox